Well, we live in a volatile world. It's something that right now there's a lot of things that are going on worldwide. This is Friday the 13th, October, and there has been some calls for violence around the world, especially in the U.S. So we need to kind of keep our head on a swivel. Now, this came from a live stream that we did on our Sensible Prepper channel. And we do a live every Tuesday. But we're going to condense it down. We have 10 things that we want to talk about for your security and what you need to do to be prepared. This is very important, guys. I mean, there have been a lot of credible threats. The FBI sent out information. Big cities have been warning. They've been bringing in extra law enforcement just to keep their eye on things. And I think that we need to take heed to that. One of the things about situational awareness is that you just know what's going on around you. Watching things, you're not paranoid, you're not really worried about anything, but you just know what's going on around you, and that's condition yellow. A condition white means that you're completely oblivious to anything going on around you. You may be on your phone sitting in a crowded mall, you don't know, and not paying any attention. It's always important to know what's going on around you, especially if you're security minded. Now, next comes orange. And guys, while yellow is my daily practice, I have bumped it up to orange. Orange means that there are threats. There is some things going on. It may not be really immediate, but you're just kind of noticing a little bit more. You're taking a little more time. You're watching for problems. And then it comes to red, and that means you're full on. There is something going on, and you're now having to take action. One of the things about situational awareness, too, is that wherever you are. Now, for me, if I'm in a restaurant, my family knows that my face is toward the door. So they save me a seat in that place. And that's where I can see what's going on in the restaurant. I see the door in case something happens. And I'm able to at least have more response time. Another thing is I look for exits, knowing where the exits are. And being able to, if I need to get my family out of there or myself. Also, looking for cover and concealment. Now, cover is something that when you get behind, it will protect you from any kind of projectiles. And concealment is where you are hidden, but you're not really protected. And so, but there is advantages to both. Sometimes you can have it. I mean, we've all seen the movies where, there's a shootout and guys turn tables over and they're firing behind tables. Well, those bullets will go straight through those tables. And so that is really just concealment. But getting behind something that really has some structure to it is a very important place to be if there is anything available. Also, watching for erratic behavior. A lot of times, there will be signs that something's going on, that there's something being worked up, that people are angry, you hear shouting voices, people are acting strange. Watch for those signs, and that's definitely a part of situational awareness. Number 2 is concealed carry. Now, guys, you need to be carrying, always. Now, I carry all the time, right until before I go to bed at night. And so wherever I'm going, because the issues happen when we least expect it. And so it's very important for you to be concealed carrying, not only for you and the protection of your family, but you could also stop a situation that might be going on. And so you are one of the protectors. And so concealed carry is very important to be doing that. Now, also, there are other options, as in pepper spray, carrying a good knife, carrying your flashlight. A flashlight can be an impact tool if you don't have anything else. The problem is, guys, for a lot of you in the world and even in a lot of metropolitan areas, you're not allowed to carry, or you can't get a concealed carry permit. And so number 1 is you just want to make sure that you are legal. Listen, if you get yourself in a situation, I know the Constitution is your concealed carry permit, but it's a lot easier to have that permit ahead of time. And if you're worried about being on a list, I can promise you if you're watching these videos, you're already on a list. Number 3 is talk to your family and talk to your friends. Let them know that there are some reasons that they need to kind of step up their security game. With your kids, it just takes your judgment. You need to think about, are they old enough to be able to understand what you're saying? Or to be able to handle it. But honestly, if they're about time in grade school or above, it's good to kind of bring them in and say, guys, there's a lot of crazy stuff that's happening around the world. And so when I say something or I tell you to do something, you just need to be a little bit more attentive to listen. And then, with your family, or older children, with your friends, encourage them to be careful when they're out there and to really take notice of things that are going on, and honestly, all the things on this list. But again, with really small children, use your judgment. Again, you don't want to scare them, which really isn't cool, but you definitely want them, in case of an emergency, to be able to react and not to be surprised. Number 4 is carry medical gear. You want to have a trauma kit available, and there can be different effects that happen, whether it's an explosion, whether it's a shooting or a stabbing, or somebody even run over by a car. There's a lot of different things that these people have used in the past to create this kind of environment. So you want to make sure that you have some medical gear handy. A lot of times you can carry it on your body. I mean, having a tourniquet and chest seals and have it in a small little pack stuck in a cargo pocket or something, you can do that. Ankle rigs are really great for that as well. But at least have something close by in your car. One thing that I would recommend right now is, if you don't carry a backpack, is maybe put a few things in a backpack and carry it around with you. And it gives you those extra items that you need. Number 5 is some kind of ballistic protection. For me, for years, I've had some of the soft body armor. I put it in my computer bag. I have it in my backpack. It's just a panel that'll defeat most handgun ammunition. Of course, you can step that up to defeat rifle ammunition, but it's going to be a little bit heavier. But a lot of the technology that's coming out today has really brought it down to be more manageable and lightweight. But there are a lot of options, and it's just something to consider. Even for kids going to school, you can put a small, very minimal little panel in the back, and it gives them some protection, at least for their vital areas. And maybe not the extremities, but it does give you a fighting chance. Number 6, avoid crowds. Avoid events, big football games. I mean, we're coming into fall right now, so there's a lot of areas where people are joining together, large crowds. I understand, I'm a fan as well of certain sports, but guys, you need to be aware that those are potential hot spots. One of the things that happens right now is the effect that they're looking for. And so large areas, especially in the cities, can be more vulnerable. And so you want to just kind of avoid those type areas. But if you are going to those places, make sure that you know where your exits are. If you can get seats in a place like next to the aisle, next to the rows, or just look for concealment, look for cover if situations turn upside down. Now, the next point actually leads to that, and it's to be prepared for a possible stampede. If there is panic, if there is gunfire, if there are things that could happen, there can be people that rush and push, and they just kind of panic and they lose their mind. We've seen a lot of people especially like concerts or clubs, like where a fire has started, people being crushed to death. In a large crowd, that's even more of a potential problem. One of the things about this is know your exits, and also kind of stay out of the flow of this push. One of the things also that typically happens is people end up being smothered to death because they just can't breathe. The press is so tight. And then people are behind them pushing and people behind them. And so it just becomes this one mass. And one of the things you can do is to take your arms and put them out like this. Put them around your body. It gives you the ability to somewhat breathe and expand your lungs. The problem is you get smashed in those crowds. And then if something falls, let it fall. The last thing you want to do is to end up in the floor. If your billfold, your phone, pocketbook, whatever it is, just let it go. It's not worth your life. If you happen to fall and stumble and get on the ground, get into a fetal position, and it allows you to be able to breathe a little better. If you're laying on your stomach or on your back, people are going to just trample over you and you're not going to be able to breathe. And so look for exits, look for places up to grab, to pull yourself out if possible. And these kind of stampedes can happen at any time, but if there is a threat and people are really worried and something happens, people are going to panic. And so you need to take this into consideration. Number 7 is, if you see suspicious activity, if there's something going on, report it. It doesn't hurt for local law enforcement to check it out. If there are things that are going on that you go, that's just not right. There are ways to be able to report on the federal level, but typically local level is a lot more responsive. So guys, it's not going to hurt anything if someone's innocent, but if something's really going on, you could head off a major disaster. Now this is one that you really need to consider, is when you're driving, of course, being responsive, getting out of the area. If something starts to go on, just take another road, just move out of the way. One thing, though, that I'm going to encourage you to work on is driving in reverse. When you're driving and you need to get out of an area, we don't typically drive really fast in reverse. And so one of the things that this came home to me was when I was reading James Yeager's The 7 Pillars of Self-Defense. And being a contractor over in the Middle East, that was one thing that they had to do a few times, is to hit it in reverse and get out of there. And they had to drive really fast out of range. It just makes you a harder target to hit the farther the distance. And so being able to get it in reverse, get out of dodge, get out of the way. That's one thing that I practice. We have long driveways, and I'll get it and put it in my car in reverse, and I'm going really fast in reverse. And then you can go to an empty parking lot, practice your reverse driving. Guys, there was one instance in Israel with the Hamas attack that happened where there was a concert and everybody was leaving because there were rockets being fired, and they were all jammed up trying to get out. And there were some security people at the front. And then all of a sudden, these security people ended up pulling out automatic weapons and mowed down over 200 people. Well, the one couple that was in the back, actually a brother and sister, he was able to put the car in reverse, and even though they were shooting his car, he was able to get out of there because he could drive really fast in reverse. And he did get shot a couple of times, but he did get his life saved by taking action. So being ready to take action when you are in your vehicle. Now, this is legal in your area, carrying a go bag in the back of your car, carbine, some magazines, your plate carriers, whatever, you've got them right there with you. You can carry them. You want to make sure they're secure, but you definitely could have that as a possibility if you're in a bad situation. Now, if you're right up in front of it, you don't have time to put them on, but you could be in another area and able to put that on and get to an area and be able to save lives. So it is a possibility, and it's something that, while I left it for number 9, it's definitely one of those things that I personally do, and I think it's very important in this time of orange to be ready. Number 10 is we could possibly be seeing ammo shortages. So if you are looking for ammo, make your purchases now. Ammo shortages have happened over and over the past 20 years. Making sure you have adequate amounts of ammunition, being ready to go and having that set aside. Guys, you need to be doing that right now because the prices and availability have started to come down. With the world's current events, I have a feeling that they're going to go up and scarcity is going to come back to the U.S. like it has over and over. Now guys, some of you can't have ammunition because you can't have a firearm and you can't use it for self-defense because people watch these videos from all over the world. But here in the U.S. we can, and we need to exercise our Second Amendment rights. It's very important and it can save lives, and that's the big thing. It can help people get out of a situation. It can stop some kind of mass casualty. Having that, again, concealed carry is one of the top things that you can be doing, especially right now. Well, guys, we live in a volatile world, and it's sad in some ways that we have to go to this, but it's just become part of daily life. And for you and your family and friends, and obviously to possibly help others that may be in need, it gives you the tools and the ability and the mindset to take action if needed. Because let's face it, guys, the bottom line is we just want to have peace here. We want to do the right things. And sometimes that's what it takes. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. They go at certain times to have those items with them. Okay. You don't want to scare them. You don't want to, Now, if your state law allows having making sure that you have adequate amounts of ammo. But in this time right now, hopefully it'll motivate. And having this list really should already be. We've always seen the shows where people, okay, I don't want to do that. I want to go over this other.